Hey y'all, iRick Guy here, and I want to talk about how to update the A7R5 firmware, the Sony A7R5, the Sony A7R5 firmware. So how do you do it? With a Mac computer. Obviously I'm using a Mac. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your camera is 100% charged. You've got a battery in there that's 100% charged. You'll disconnect it from the charging cable. You're going to go into this other side here, and this is where the SD cards are. And you're only going to want to keep the card in slot 1, which is the top slot. So you're going to eject the card from the bottom slot, and that's very important. I don't know if Sony makes a big deal about it. You know, obviously follow Sony's guidance step by step and make sure you're comfortable with doing so before proceeding. But what I do, I only have one card in there, which is slot 1, and then I connect it to my computer using my USB-C as in Charlie cable. And when I connect it to my computer, I go to the, you may have named your SD cards. Mine's just called Untitled and Untitled 2. But you can go to your SD card when it pops up and copy over the file that you downloaded, the firmware file that you downloaded from the official Sony firmware download site. And what I did when I just copied the file into the root and attempted the firmware update the first time, it didn't work. I got the rapid 5 flash and then, or the 6 flash and then the rapid 5 or the rapid 6 and then the slow 5, whatever it was. It says it on the Sony support site. So there was something wrong. So what I had to do, I had to power the camera back on, and then I had to go into the, I went to the SD card from my Mac, and I deleted the 2 folders that were present on the SD card, and then I copied that firmware file back over. So at that point in time, the firmware file was the only file on the SD card, and obviously it was in the root. It was in the top level directory of the SD card. After I did that and went through the firmware update procedure again, everything was okay, and I was able to successfully update my A7R5 to the latest firmware version. And to confirm your firmware version, it's actually really simple. You go to your menu. So you go to your menu here, press menu here, and then you go over to the far left, all the way to the bottom, and then you go down to setup option, and then you go down to version. And as you can see there, at the time of filming this video, I've got the current ILCE-7RM5, Sony A7R5, version 2.01. So at the time of filming this video, today is November the 24th of 2023. At the time of filming this is the most current firmware version for the Sony A7R5. But I can't reiterate more. Make sure your battery is 100% charged before you attempt this. Follow Sony's instructions step by step, because when the firmware update is in process, it's important that the camera not lose power or be powered off, because that could create a potentially catastrophic issue that couldn't be recovered from. So follow Sony's instructions step by step. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, take it to a professional and let them do it. But like I said, my first attempt failed, and even though I had the firmware file in the root of the SD cards folder, the fact that those 2 other folders were present for some reason was causing it to fail. So, best of luck if you choose to attempt this. Again, follow Sony's guidance and make sure you're comfortable doing it before you attempt it. But I just wanted to post my experience. And, again, if I had not deleted those 2 folders, mine would have never updated successfully. So I don't know if you've encountered that same stumbling block. If you have, I hope this video helps, because it was frustrating to not be able to update and then find that the root cause of my initial Sony A7R5 firmware update attempt failure was the product of those two directories existing, even though I had the firmware file in the root of the SD card, just like Sony suggested. So I don't know why that failed, but anyway, it worked the second time, and as you can see, I've got the most current firmware at the time of filming this video. Thanks for your viewership. If this video helped and you really feel good, send me a super thanks. You can find the button down below. It says super thanks, not required, but deeply appreciated if you choose to do so. You know, that helps to support my channel and videos like this one. And feel free to subscribe and ring that bell, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.
Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.